Hey, this is Sneaky G and welcome to Better Commander. Is your commander lonely? Why don't you give him a best friend? If you've been playing this game for any amount of time, we all know how commanders work. It can be a little confusing at times. A card's commanderness is very specifically tied to it being your commander and tied to that specific card. There are all kinds of special rules that apply to it, and the Magic design team has experimented in the past with tweaking what a commander can do or how certain cards interact with commanders. Don't mind my voice, I'm a little sick. Everybody in my area of the world is sick right now. I did a short video recently on the Lieutenant cycle, and it got me thinking about cards I've used in the past to augment my commander's abilities, like Robin to Batman, Hooch to Turner, Ike to Mike. Every commander needs a sidekick, a little Gal Friday, a BFF to serve and protect. Alright, so let's dive right into it, and hopefully you'll see some cards you've never seen and slot them into your commander decks. All but a few of these cards are pretty cheap, and I'll note the ones that are a little expensive, so budget builders and bling blasters can check this video out. But first, help support the channel, you know what I mean? It's simple. Leave a comment, like the video, subscribe for future nonsense. I got no sponsors, I got no Patreon, dude. It's just me out here in the world doing my thing. Let's start with a card that recently shook up this whole paradigm. We got Vexilus Praetor, 3 and a white for a creature, Custodes Warrior. It's a 3/4 with Flash and Vigilance. Has Aegis of the Emperor. Commanders you control have protection from everything. These guys guard the Emperor in 40k lore, and they wear so much armor they can't even pee, dude. They're so efficient they use their doo-doo as weapons. This thing is $8 right now. This is the ultimate BFF for your commander, and I wanted to mention it first. It gives it progenitus protection, dude. Can't beat that. I love the character design on this thing. You got a Nara Wolven Familiar, 3 and a green for a legendary creature, Wolf Beast. It's a 4/4. As long as it's your turn, commanders you control have Indestructible. This card is awesome if you plan on having your commander enter combat. It's a wolf with horns, buddy. Be careful not to impale yourself when giving head scratchies to this little good boy. It's kind of beefy in its own right as well, being a 4/4. Bastion Protector, 2 and a white for a creature, Human Soldier. It's a 3/3. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have Indestructible. Probably one of the best commander protectors out there. This is relatively cheap, has decent power and toughness, and is a great boost for your commander. This has BFF written all over it for sure. Got new art in the 40k decks. Looks pretty cool as well. Kind of mimics this guy's pose. Oh man, here he comes. Bloodsworn Steward, 2 red for a creature, Vampire Knight. It's a 4/4 with flying. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2 and have haste. I've used this in vampire decks and decks where I definitely need haste. This guy's in Greven for sure. Commander-centric decks where power and toughness matters, where the commander is heading into combat. Also, this is a 4/4 with flying for 4, which is not bad in red. It's pretty beefy. He's offering his bro a dead horse, which no one has done for me in years, dude. Not since I went to a French restaurant. And you got this guy, SEO or Wardwing Familiar, 1 in the blue for a legendary creature, bird. It's a 1/3 with flying. Spells your opponents cast that target 1 or more commanders you control, cost 3 more to cast. I don't know about this guy. The protection effect is fine, but I'm often more worried about activated and or triggered abilities. If this guy said Ward 3, I'd be a little more psyched to use this little bird. Oh, then we got old Falthus Shadowcat Familiar out here, 2 and a black for a legendary creature, Nightmare Cat. It's a 2/2. Commanders you control have Menace and Death Touch. Never liked cats so much, but Menace and Death Touch on a combat-centered commander is great. Or if you have a commander that deals non-combat damage to creatures, then this thing can be quite handy, quite deadly. Flamekin Herald, 2 and a red for a creature, Elemental Wizard. It's a 3/2. Commander spells you cast have Cascade. Pretty simple. One of your commanders costs 4 to 5, then you can capitalize on value with this flamey BFF. This goes great in a wizard deck as well. Now look at this guy over here. He's just a dang rock. 5 generic mana for an artifact creature, Golem. We got the Geode Golem with tramp stamps. Whenever Geode Golem deals combat damage to a player, you may cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. This is pricey, but there are definitely decks where this sees play. You got your high cost partner decks, you got 7 cost commanders meant to die over and over again. I like the design on this, but this guy is so slow. Not like this guy, Hellkite Courser, 4 red for a creature dragon. It's a 6/5 with flying. When it enters the battlefield, you may put a commander you own from the command zone onto the battlefield. It gains haste, return it to the command zone at the beginning of the next end step. This got a little pricey. This thing's like $4 to $5, and I can see why. Free swing with your Dragon or whatever. This is a big beater that sneak attacks out your commander, BFF for sure. Fresh out of Hogwarts, we got the Guardian Augmenter. 2 and a green for a creature, Troll Wizard. It's a 2/2 with flash. Commander creatures you control get +2/+2. Commanders you control have hexproof. So you notice how it says commander creatures you control get +2/+2. Commanders you control have hexproof. So if you have a Planeswalker commander, it can't be targeted. If you put this guy out, but it doesn't benefit from the +2/+2. After years of research, he finally unlocked the formula for a perfect punch. perfect. This troll wizard will keep your commander safe. A lot of times in green, I prefer creatures to artifacts, and this has the same mana investment as a Swiftfoot Boots. Kedis, Emberclaw Familiar, 1 in a red for a legendary creature, elemental lizard. It's a 1/1. Whenever a commander you control deals combat damage to an opponent, it deals that much damage to each other opponent as partner. Every time I see Kedis, I'm sad. I've never actually played with this in one of my decks, but there always seems to be one player who's behind or can't block the 10/10 Voltron commander that somebody's using, so we all take damage. This thing's 1 in a red, small mana investment for a big damage swing. Kelith, Sunmane Familiar, 1 in a white for a legendary creature horse. It's a 1/1. Whenever a commander you control attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. I don't know about this guy. This is a decent way to get a counter onto Atraxa, but Kelith kind of seems to carry on the long tradition in MTG of horses sucking. Maybe that's why Bloodsworn Steward was offering you a dead horse, dude. He's just like, Kelith, listen man, we're just going to put some guy on you. He can ride you around. Stump Squall Hydra, I guess the head is the stump. X green for a creature Hydra, it's a 1/1. When this guy enters the battlefield, distribute X +1/+1 counters among it and any number of commanders. This is rather unique Hydra in that you can give some of its counters to your commander. I like this in a counters deck, proliferate deck, or anything like that where you want to spread the counters around. Oh, you definitely want this guy as your best friend. Imagine showing up to a double date to go to a movie with the Void Grafter. 1 green and a blue for a creature Eldrazi Drone. It's a 2/4 with the Void and Flash. When Void Grafter enters the battlefield, another target creature you control gains hexproof until end of turn. This card has no color, dude, but it sure does have color identity. Cool little trick in decks that want high creature count, and you can never run too much protection for a card like Animar or something like that. And then the girls would say, oh, where's his head? Oh, you got Dauntless Bodyguard. This guy's literally a best friend who would throw down his life for you. 1 white mana for a creature Human Knight. It's a 2/1. As Dauntless enters the battlefield, choose another target creature you control. Sacrifice it. The chosen creature gains indestructible until end of turn. There's a couple cards like this. We also got Selfless Savior. He's a 1 white mana for a creature Dog. Sacrifice him. Another target creature you control gains indestructible until end of turn. Can't beat that for 1 white mana. It's a 1/1. I don't know why the heck I downloaded the Italian version of this, but we got Temur Sabertooth, 2 green for a creature cat. It's a 4/3. Has 1 and a green. You may return another creature you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Temur Sabertooth gains indestructible until end of turn. Classic commander card that has so many combos. At base level, without nonsense, you can protect your commander for 1 and a green, get it back to your hand, dude. You got the Vodalian Illusionist. Look at this guy. Looks like he's just doing some dances to the Cure over there. It's 2 and a blue for a creature Merfolk Wizard. It's a 2/2. Has blue and tap, and target creature phases out. You just phase out your commander. This guy's a BFF for sure. He does illusions at parties. He's conjuring up some moray eels or whatever the heck that is. Phasing is some of the best protection you can get on your commander. And we got 2 lieutenant cycles we can touch on real quick. You got the Angelic Field Marshal, 2 white for a creature angel. It's a 3/3 with flying. Has lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Angelic Field Marshal gets +2/+2. And creatures you control have vigilance. Vigilance in a Flying Matters deck means you can keep up an army of blockers. This thing makes a great sidekick for 4 mana. Plus she's got that sweet hat, dude, and that's what Magic is all about. Unfortunately, right now it's $10 for this fashion model. Storm Surge Kraken, 3 blue for a creature Kraken. It's a 5/5 with hexproof. As lieutenant, as long as you control your commander, Storm Surge gets +2/+2, and whenever this guy becomes a block, you may draw 2 cards. This guy is $11, so maybe skip this for budget decks. The card draw is fantastic, and this is seeing a lot of play right now due to a few commanders that care about Krakens printed in the last 2 years or so. Look at this guy. What's he doing to that guy in the wheel over there? He's Wailing Agonies. 3 black for a creature demon. It's a 4/4 with flying. Also got lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, Demon of Wailing Agonies gets +2/+2. And whenever Demon of Wailing Agonies deals combat damage to a player, that player sacrifices a creature. This is solid utility. If your commander's out, you have a 6/6 with flying and an edict effect stapled on for 5 mana. Decent beater in a demon deck. I'm not sure what deck I'd use this in. It's kind of outclassed by some of the other more impactful demons. Over here you got Tyra Banks Familiar, 5 red for a creature dragon. It's a 5/5 with flying and haste. Has lieutenant. As long as you control your commander, it gets +2/+2, and whenever it attacks, deals 7 damage to target creature defending player controls. When Commander 2014 came out, I was so impressed with this card. Such a beast. It's kind of outclassed now, but that 7 damage can really be clutch in long games. It's an attack trigger too. Thunderfoot Baloth is out there. This guy's scaring all the goats away. 4 green for a creature beast. It's a 5/5 with trample. Lieutenant, as long as you control your commander, Thunderfoot Baloth gets +2/+2, and other creatures you control get +2/+2 and have trample. Classic commander card. This is a budget bomb. It's an anthem. Win condition if your board is big enough. Love this guy for budget decks. Loyal Unicorn. What can I say about this guy? It's 3 and a white for a creature unicorn. It's a 3/4 with vigilance. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, prevent all combat damage that would be dealt to creatures you control this turn. Other creatures you control gain vigilance until end of turn. I think this guy is way better than it looks. You can swing in with total impunity in a go wide deck. Be ready for crackback in a combat heavy deck. This thing's awesome. Loyal Drake for 2 and a blue. Creature Drake, it's a 2/2. Flying. Lieutenant, at the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, draw a card. I love this little guy. It replaces itself. It's a decent flying blocker. Drawing cards is great. Now this guy, Loyal Subordinate, 2 and a black for a creature zombie. It's a 3/1 with menace. Has Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, each opponent loses 3 life. This life loss, this stacks up nicely, especially in a deck where you're draining every turn or you can pay off lots of life loss. I run this in Belby, run it in Abaddon. Decks that run Wound Reflection. The starter commander deck art is a little better for me, looks a little meaner. This guy kind of looks like he's going out to pick up Liliana's dry cleaning. Loyal Apprentice, 1 and a red for a creature human artificer. It's a 2/1 with haste. Has Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, create a 1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature token with flying. That token gains haste until end of turn. This is great. It's efficient. Gets you a token with haste every turn. Fantastic. This apprentice is over there making drones for George W. Bush. Look at this guy. I love the art for this thing. It's just a close-up of a rhino's face. Yeah, Loyal Guardian, 4 and a green for a creature rhino. It's a 4/4 with tramp stamps. Has Lieutenant. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if you control your commander, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. I've slotted this thing into counters decks, decks that run Hardened Scales or Fathom Mage, budget decks. Simic counters decks are crowded, but this close-up of a rhino face, I mean, this is a great budget card and a best friend. Oh man, you want to know what other kinds of cards make great best friends for your commander? The Soulbonders, dude. We got Breathkeeper Seraph, 4 white for a creature angel. It's a 4/4. Flying and Soulbond. As long as Breathkeeper Seraph is paired with another creature, you're going to pair it with your commander. Each of those creatures has, when this creature dies, you may return it to the battlefield under its owner's control at the beginning of your next upkeep. Great protection piece for your commander, especially if you're running sacrifice outlets. I love the art on this thing. The lady just slaps the soul right back into you. You got the Elgod Shieldmaid, 3 and a blue for a creature human soldier. It's a 2/3 with Soulbond. As long as Elgod Shieldmaid is paired with another creature, both creatures have hexproof. I've been a fan of this card forever. The art is evocative, it's gorgeous. You got the best poleaxe in MTG right here. She got a pixie haircut, she got spiky armor. This thing's right up my alley, dude. Oh, look at this best friend, Lightning Mauler, 1 and a red for a creature human berserker with Soulbond. As long as Lightning Mauler is paired with another creature, both creatures have haste. It's a 2/1. I just wanted to mention this thing because I've never seen this before. This is replacing Fervor in my Greven deck because I can sacrifice it to draw cards. This is a personal tangent, you know what I'm saying, but 2 mana for this thing is fantastic. Silverblade Paladin, 1 white for a creature human knight. It's a 2/2 with Soulbond. As long as Silverblade Paladin is paired with another creature, both creatures have double strike. This guy's out there looking like Gideon's cousin. He's giving a Voltron commander double strike. That's fantastic. I love how the horse is down for whatever. This Ultra Chat is planning something, dude. Tandem Lookout is 2 and a blue for a creature human scout. It's a 2/1 with Soulbond. As long as Tandem Lookout is paired with another creature, each of those creatures have, whenever this creature deals damage to an opponent, draw a card. I mention this guy because he combos with anything that Curiosity combos with. If your commander wins by dealing multiple instances of damage, then you might want to slot this guy in. He's out there with his little periscope or whatever he's got. Wingcrafter is 1 blue mana for a creature human wizard. It's a 1/1 with Soulbond. As long as Wingcrafter is paired with another creature, both creatures have flying. This thing is super efficient. 1 blue mana to give your commander flying. Flying is obviously great evasion. Whatever this guy is building, he looks a little ramshackle, so I'd be careful flying around in that anyway. Alright, last 2, I wanted to mention some of the Bonders out of Ikoria. Ikoria had a bunch of cards named Bonders, but really they like to get out in the woods and they're LARPing as Animorphs. We got Daring Fiend Bonder, 3 and a black for a creature, a human warlock. It's a 5/1 with haste. Daring Fiend Bonder attacks each combat if able, has 1 in a black, exile this guy from your graveyard, put an indestructible counter on target creature, activate only as a sorcery. So this guy is probably going to die immediately. Then you can trade him in for indestructibility for your commander. He's out there at the goth club carrying around his chihuahua like Paris Hilton, but he's very useful out of the graveyard. Now, don't lie, if you saw this lady out at a coffee shop, you definitely asked for her number. We got Slippery Bog Bonder. She's just bonding with a Slippery Bogle. 3 and a green for a creature human druid. It's a 3/3 with flash and hexproof. When Slippery Bog Bonder enters the battlefield, put a hexproof counter on target creature, then move any number of counters from among creatures you control onto that creature. Looks like Christina Ricci. She's just dressing up as a dang Slippery Bogle. I like this card. It's cheap as heck. Hexproof is excellent protection for your commander. So listen, as you're building your commander decks, remember you want to include a best friend for your commander. What if your commander wants to go get ice cream or something? It's really sad to go do it by yourself. There are some creatures that can make being in charge of an army a little less stressful. So be kind to each other, be well, stay safe. The Sneaky G from Better Commander signing off.